BJ was generally obedient, and he, when he was real little, he just loved horses. We used to go to the horse races with Grandpa, so he loved horses. They were called foo-foos. They weren't. He couldn't pronounce horse, so.
Somewhere he came up with foo-foo.
Somewhere he came up with foo-foo.
So he was harassed about that his whole life.
So, and he loved the orange, so he'd always have Grandpa bet on number 6, because that's the orange one. And as he grew up, he basically got interested in girls, cars. I wrote what?
Hockey.
And hockey.
Yep.
So all the boys have played both roller hockey and ice hockey. So BJ, he skated out most of the time, but he started playing goalie how many years ago?
Probably 5 years ago or so he started playing goalie.
So these two, when they play against him,
it was always fun.
Yeah, they had to score on him and just make him look bad.
Well, the object was to get a hat trick against him.
Yeah. But he and I wrote a contract when he was a freshman, Ann and I, that if he got straight A's, he'd get an old Jeep and we'd refurb it and this and that. Turned out that we found one that didn't need refurbing, and so he got a little Jeep. He got straight A's, so I came up on it. The flying part of the deal was that he also could have his pilot's license. And since we have helicopters and airplanes, it was kind of an easy thing to do. But he never took me up on it. He just didn't want to go that way. He wanted to be a dentist. And he went away on a church mission with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so for 2 years. And when he came back from that, he said, hey, that contract didn't have an expiration date. I want to get my pilot's license. And that's when he became, he worked to become a pilot, started a flight school, and did that for many years. So what am I missing? That kind of jumped right to... forest fire.
Let's see,
Yeah.
got married?
Yeah. Got married. But anyway, he became a helicopter and an airplane pilot, single and multi-engine. And then his first Forest Service contract with it was at Payson, Arizona. And turns out that was going to be his last contract, was Payson, Arizona. And Payson, Arizona was my first Forest Service contract. So, but BJ, he always got straight A's. He didn't work very hard at it and still got straight A's. And he was just pretty well smart. If he said something, most of the time he researched it enough that he knew it was going to be right. So he didn't contest it too much, especially in the aviation stuff.
We found a shirt and it said, "I'm not arguing with you. I'm just explaining why I'm right." And that
That's
was total
perfect.
BJ.
Yeah. Definitely BJ, right?
Pretty much. Hockey was the one thing we could always do together, even
Right.
if we were fighting about other things. We could always talk about hockey and play hockey together.
None of them had military background like I have. But I think my whole life I've kind of presented a military. She starts to smile. But the military was introduced in different ways, It's just like the discipline. I used to make them do push-ups instead of spanking them.
Oh, that's a funny story.
Yeah, BJ was he, a junior?
I
Freshman?
don't know if he's a sophomore, maybe.
Anyway, he comes home. He's in high school, I think sophomore. And I told her before he even walked in the door, if he can keep his mouth shut, I won't even make him do one push-up. All I'll do is put him in the front leaning rest position.
He'd done something. I don't even remember
Yeah,
what.
he was in trouble for something. That kid could not keep his trap shut. 275 push-ups, 100 sit-ups later, he finally has an asthma attack, and so I have to treat that instead of, keeping the push. I just lay there and keep pumping. But he pumped out 275 push-ups without stopping.
So after it was all over, I told him what he'd said to me, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah. These two, I haven't had to do that push-up stuff very much. But also in the flying stuff and everything, the attention to detail that I was taught is how he was taught. Obviously, he learned everything that he knew flying-wise initially from me, and then, experience after that. But he flew for our company for 16 years, started and operated the flight school for that period of time until probably 15 years total, right?
Yeah, 2005
And
to
once he got the number of hours you have to have,
20.
then he started flying forest fires.
19.
Most of the fire stuff he did 1 4-year hitch just during the summertime at Pace in Arizona.
4-month hitch.
And then call when needed for the rest of it. But he really enjoyed the fires.
There was a brotherhood there among all
Yeah.
the crew,
Mm-hmm.
so I think he enjoyed that. And plus, it's just a challenging environment.
It's like a war zone, especially on the flying side of it. You've got your routes in and out, and you've got air traffic controller, lead planes. You got an interface between helicopters and other aircraft in a very small elevation window. He liked the preciseness of all that, and it's actually there's a lot of freedom because you have no boss there. You are the boss. And so if it goes good, it's because of you, and if it goes bad, it's because of you. So I think he enjoyed the camaraderie, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was a diver in the military before I became a pilot, and had an opportunity to go to flight school, and I took it. And I've always liked the camaraderie and the knowing that no matter what, the guy next to you has your back. And the firefighting is the same way. I mean, you want to structure fire, and it's the same thing for you. You know that the guy with you is going to take care of you, and you're going to take care of him. And then you're going to fight the beast. So even from the helicopter, there's not the direct contact with the fire, but you still are making it go where you want it to go. And that part of it he really enjoyed. Being precise. And that's what our whole company has always been, is about precision, because we do a lot of high-risk sling work and stuff like that. Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes because you can see stuff from the air that the command part of it can't see, and they don't realize sometimes what you could do if you just let us loose, Sometimes they let you loose, and I think BJ enjoyed that as much as I used to, when they just let you loose and go put it out, because he knew the risk. We fly in the Grand Canyon, and it's the most difficult place we've ever flown and the easiest place we've ever flown, all in the same day. And he liked that, I wouldn't say stress,
Challenge.
but challenge, yeah. Yeah, well, everybody says that we like to take risks, but that's not really true. Everything is.
Adrenaline junkies.
No, that's not true either. But BJ or me or anybody else, everything is about precision, about being, doing the job. A lot of times, if you don't put the bucket where it's supposed to be, people die. They get burned up. And I've had many times, and BJ too, many times where that bucket load that he laid down for him saved a hotshot crew that was going to get burned over. And sometimes you see that from the air, and command won't listen, and then you just go do it anyway. You can see they're going to die if they don't get some help, and you express that, hey, I need to do this, and the command says, no, go ahead and go do this, and I just...
That generally obedient.
Generally, that's not generally. I guess he does get it from me. I never thought about it that way, but I guess. Well, you guys are all generally obedient. Pretty much.
We go right till we think you're wrong, and then we go and
Yeah.
do our own way.
But I usually don't challenge stuff unless I know 100% I'm right. And that's getting worse as I get older, but that was the theory before. And that's the way BJ was too.
Well, it definitely has its own challenges. I mean, we've all got strong personalities. And, I was left on my own to do a lot because he was gone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you just rise to the challenge and you do what you got to do. you know it's always a possibility, and that's always there. He used to leave the house and he'd turn around and tell me red roses. I did not
No,
like
I'd
that.
say, I love you, red roses. That was what I said.
I asked him to quit saying red roses. I did not like that. I did not like him leaving on that tone. He would never stop until one day I got so mad I took off my shoe and threw it at him. He never said it again.
She did. Well, no, I would ask, she'd say, don't say that ever again. And I go, which part, the I love you or the red roses? And then that's when she threw the shoe.
So it's a knowledge that's already there. You know the possibility is there. It's just inherent in that job. It's inherent as any firefighter.
A firefighter, policeman, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You never know if today's your last day.
Right.
They assigned a Forest Service officer to escort him until he got to the grave.
I mean, the things they did to honor him were amazing. The governor put the state flags at half-mast. They had a procession. He had to go to the medical examiner's office afterwards. He was there for a few days. Turned out the guy examining was somebody that my daughter's
Personal
best friend grew up trained under. So we had a lot of inside connection there. And once he was released from there, they had a full fire procession all the way back to Phoenix.
89
and they took
miles
a lot of the
worth.
side roads, and every single fire department came out and showed honor to him in some way with either, a
Ladder
truck with their sirens going. One had 2 ladder trucks put together and a flag hanging down. And so, they really came together and did a lot of special things for him. I think it gives you great pride and, what he was able to do with it. And it helps console you that so many others are so concerned.
And the level of respect once a person
Right.
loses their life on the fire ground, be it structure or wildland fire, the respect they have for what you've done and what you dedicated your life to as far as the protection of people, their property and land last. But the procession, they flew him from the crash site to another site, and then they had a procession from there all the way to the ME's office. And then once they after got done with that, then we'd add another procession all the way to the funeral home. And the funeral driver, the guy driving the hearse, right? Mm-hmm. He said he'd never been in a procession for 89 miles before, maybe 8 miles, but not 89 miles. And like I said, every overpass had a ladder truck with the guys saluting and showing honor to him. The kid from the firefighting side of it was pretty good at it. I mean, he did rappel. He flew rappellers. He did all of the firefighting aspects, and they called him specifically because how he was accurate and was able to do it really well. And I mean, there was 6,600 people who watched the video of his funeral. Because of COVID, we were limited to 50.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so there was a lot of people that wanted to be there that couldn't, but they were able to. What's the terminology? Stream?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little old for this computer stuff.
No, there was over 6,000 people that watched it.
6,600 and miscellaneous 38 or something like that. That's amazing to me, and I wish I could get a list somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting.
Yeah, because but just the support of the fire services in general. Mm-hmm. Since I was a Glendale fireman I was only there 12 years. I got injured. The support that they had nothing to do with this, other than it was my son, and the amount of support that they showed towards our family was phenomenal. Same thing with the U.S. Forest Service.
Mm-hmm.
Almost
just the helicopter command
same
in general?
everybody, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't want the help. They think they can do it on their own. And I don't care how big and how tough you are or whatever terminology you want to use. This is something that you have to allow other people to assist you. And it starts right at the funeral home. When the first person's assigned to follow you and help you and do what you do, you've got to let them in, open up to what they are trying to teach you, and accept it. I mean, when he crashed, there was 60 guys in the LZ that he crashed next to, and they didn't run away. They ran to him. Unfortunately, it caught on fire, and so another helicopter came in and put that out immediately, and they rushed there. It was a little too late, but it's still the idea that they were not fearing it at all.
Well, and they recognized what he had done to save their lives. And they were very, very respectful, very, I don't know, loving's not the word, what is it?
Yeah.
But they were
Honoring.
very emotional over the whole thing.
I mean, when you're fighting fire, be it structure or in the bushes, your concern is all the other guys. And he basically, a guy named Rocky, I've known him for 28 years, and he's still on a hot shot crew, believe it or not. He just loves it, and his knees have held up, so he's still doing it. But he said he was looking at BJ eye to eye when BJ shook his head and made a right-hand turn. He could have saved himself just by
They would have hurt
finishing
others
out,
doing it.
but somebody else would have got hurt. So that wasn't acceptable. Which makes you proud. Kind of like throwing your body over a hand grenade, just a little bit different.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you.